The second episode of 1923 Season 2, titled The Rapist of Winter, showcases the relentless brutality of the Montana winter, the cunning machinations of Donald Whitfield, the unyielding resilience of the Dutton family, and some parallels of Spencer and Alex's journey to America. As each character grapples with their own survival, the stakes continue to rise, setting the stage for a season defined by hardship, revenge, and power struggles. The timestamps are below for each character's analysis and breakdown. Let's dive into it. The episode opens with Elsa Dutton's narration, describing the unforgiving nature of winter as Donald Whitfield rides with Banner Creighton, subtly reminding him of everything he's lost and sacrificed. Whitfield's words carry the weight. He pushes Banner to recognize the cost of ambition, urging him to see beyond mere survival and envision a grander scheme. Their journey brings them to a group of skiers where Whitfield studies the mechanics of skiing, realizing its potential as a profitable industry. This moment underscores Whitfield's ability to see financial opportunity where others only see recreation. Later on the episode, Banner meets Clyde at a saloon and expresses his growing fear of Whitfield. Unlike anyone else, Banner understands Whitfield's intelligence and ruthlessness. The real question looms: does Banner see himself merely as a pawn in Whitfield's grand design, or perhaps something greater? Sheriff McDowell and Jacob Dutton meet Judge Roy Garrett to discuss People versus Davis, a case that impacts Alice Davis, the wife of Jacob's wagon boss. Due to her Native American background, the state refuses to recognize their marriage. Jacob proposes a solution, though. He will take them all to his ranch, a move that costs the state nothing. However, the judge refuses to comply without a priest's signature and urges them to find him. Jacob, unwilling to accept this defeat here, notices the judge's drinking habit. Not only does he smell liquor in the judge's coffee that he passes on to McDowell to sniff, but he finds a liquor bottle in his desk drawer. He and McDowell use the situation to their advantage, forcing the judge's hand, which, though it may seem like blackmail, Jacob is merely fighting an unjust system with its own tactics. The deal is struck before McDowell says, "We can go to my office with handcuffs," and as Jacob takes his journey back home, he makes a stop to Zane and tells him that their hardships will soon be avenged. It does seem like revenge is on the horizon, but first, they must survive this harsh winter. And their journey home is a bit treacherous, as they are caught in a brutal blizzard, and they flip the wagon upside down for shelter. And the real concern, though, is with the horses, and instead of tying them up, they just set them free and hope to find the tracks and to see if they're actually alive once the blizzard passes by. It'll be interesting to see how many of them survive the storm, and I think the key characters will, but hopefully everyone else inside the wagon will also survive, and the horses, because they kind of need them in order to get back to the ranch. While Elizabeth is going to tend to the chickens, she notices quite a few of them are dead, and that there's a wolf inside the pen, and as she runs out, she is attacked by this wolf and barely escapes with a bite to her ankle. Luckily for Elizabeth, Spade is nearby and is able to fire off some gunshots, which scares the wolf away, but the encounter raises concerns about rabies. Later on, Dr. Miller is a guest at the house because of the storm and informs her that she must endure 12 painful injections in her stomach over the next 10 days for vaccination purposes. The scene is really harrowing for Elizabeth to endure because she's forcibly held down as the shots are administered, and we at least see one of them go right into her stomach, emphasizing the harsh realities on this frontier medicine. Elizabeth is clearly struggling with this lifestyle. She's crying in the room, and Cara goes to visit her for a little bit of a pep talk, and she says that spring is lovely, but we need to survive the winter, which is very harsh, and this one in particular has been harsher than last. Elizabeth says she loves Jack, she loves her husband, but can she endure the hardships of the Yellowstone Ranch? I don't know if we're going to have this sort of repetition where every episode that shows winter, she's going to be struggling at some point. I hope this is the last one. We can kind of move on from her, maybe learning how to use a gun, use more for her survivability, and kind of maybe just harden up a bit, much like we see Cara Dutton do. And speaking of Cara Dutton, at the end of the episode, that night is a bit of a chilling sequence. It unfolds as Cara hears noises in the night, and as she goes downstairs, she hears a scream, which I thought might have been Liz at first, but it turns out it was the nurse. We see the doors opening up, we see a bunch of snow has been blown in by the wind, and lo and behold, that same wolf is in the house. This wolf has already killed the nurse, and it makes a lunge at Cara. However, the camera cuts to the exterior, and the gunshots ring and flash out, followed by Cara's scream and the episode ends. And as the episode is essentially ending, we hear Elsa Dutton's narration again, describing the winter as a living hell. And we're left wondering, did Cara survive the wolf attack? It might be ironic if she's also bitten or scratched and now has to endure the same sort of vaccination because of potential rabies. Now, as much as we all love Spencer Dutton, we didn't get a ton of time with him on the screen in this episode because we had to share it, of course, with the other characters, but we see his journey continue. He's able to make it to shore where he meets Sal Maceo, cousin of Luca Maceo, the sailor he saved on the ship. Salvatore is a gangster, and he offers Spencer hospitality, says he could stay here, eat some food. Spencer tries pizza for the first time and loves it, which is amazing. But Spencer is eager to return home and continue on with his journey to America and Montana. Now, one of Sal's right-hand mans, his name Angelo, kind of babysits and watches Spencer. And as Angelo insists he stays, Spencer refuses to. And while he attempts to leave, what does Spencer do? He punches Angelo a couple times in the restaurant and is able to walk out. And as he's attempting to leave the city to walk to the mainland, he's ambushed by Angelo on a bridge with 5 other guys. Now, thankfully, Angelo was about to shoot him, but Angelo and his men beat Spencer and take him back to see Sal again. And in a brief conversation, Sal gives him another chance, an opportunity, because he sees that Spencer is like him with wanting to get back to land that was essentially stolen from him. I kind of figured there would be some sort of deal that Spencer has to do in order for Sal to give him passage to America, or at least to the mainland. And the deal is, you drive my truck on my road because I own it. Here's cash and a gun to deal with the police officers who agree and disagree with what you're doing. Luca is going with you. When you get to said location, send him on your way back by train, and you could take the car and go on your merry way. And with that in mind, you wonder, will he make it through this little deal unscathed? And maybe the same goes for Luca. Will Luca make it back to Sal Maceo, or will something happen to him, and will Spencer have to save Luca for a second time? And you figure Spencer being one of the main characters, he'll inevitably get to Montana, because that's kind of where the story is obviously going to go, but we're just kind of seeing the journey and what he really has to endure as a character that will forcibly make him grow and just realize everything that he's been through will have meaning behind it, especially once he sees Alex in Montana. And speaking of Alex, her perilous journey has been anything but smooth. The rough waters threaten to break the ship apart, leaking in through parts of the ship as it sways back and forth, and everyone that seems to be in that same area she's in is probably screaming for their life, wondering if they're going to live or die. I think this scene builds and serves as a symbolic parallel for both Alex and Spencer's enduring harsh, unpredictable journeys, especially as they've been both on ships, and they're really just super desperate to reunite, so they'll go through anything that they have to in order to be reunited. And of course, we know that the ship is not going to sink, and it's really just kind of underscoring the obstacles they have to go through, because if Alex sinks on a ship, then the story between her and Spencer is all for nothing. Now, with Teonna's path with Pete Plenty Clouds, we see that Runs His Horses is cautious about staying there, as he suggests that they should leave and not go to this place that the cowboys said they could stay at. And really, it's their survival hinging on whether the land will be a sanctuary or another battlefield filled with death. And we see U.S. Marshal Kent with Father Renaud meeting another U.S. Marshal in Texas, Marshal Fawcett, seeking information on Teonna. And of course, Kent has this dismissive attitude towards U.S. Marshal Fawcett because she's a woman or female marshal, and reveals his arrogance yet again. Though I wonder and think that his disrespect will be his inevitable undoing come season's end. Later on, Kent and Father Renaud are ambushed by a group by campfire, and the third party guy dies from arrow shot, and obviously despite surviving the night, Kent is able to kill off the other riders, while Father Renaud has a gun and fires, but I don't think he actually hit anyone, and if he did, as Kent says, you can repent later. As for my final thoughts in this episode, I think it was a very good follow-up for the premiere, emphasizing the unforgiving nature of both the physical and political landscapes. We see the Duttons continue to fight for survival, while external threats from Whitfield's schemings to Spencer's detour into organized crime only grows stronger, and of course they also have to deal with the physical harsh nature of winter and wildlife. I thought the pacing was well done as it jumped from every character's subplots, and we can see that the stakes are rising in each character's journey, and the thematic weight of survival, power, and revenge is really felt in every scene. And I think there's one word that is essential to every character's journey, It's survival. And that is really half the battle that they're having to endure. I don't know if the title was as fitting as it could be. I came up with two of my own, one being Winter is Hell, and two being The Hellish Winter. I think it might have had a better fit for what we actually see our characters endure. That'll do it for this episode's review and breakdown. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button for more content, the bell for notifications when I do upload content, and if you have anything to say about this episode, leave a comment below, and we'll have a conversation that way. I look forward to speaking with you on the next episode. Cheers.